Everyone, my name is Christian Karasevich, and you are watching this week's episode of Social Chatter. And I'm about to bring on our co-host, actually, Nick Rishwain, as well as tonight's special guest, Jessika Phillips from Now Marketing Group. But just give me a second, I'm going to get everything set up, and then we're going to get started with this week's show. And we've got a lot of really great updates for you. In particular, we're going to talk about I believe we're going to talk about the LinkedIn update. So LinkedIn made a really big update this past week. And then we also have, LinkedIn. We've also got some updates from Snapchat, some updates from Facebook as well. So we will see you here shortly. By the way, we're on this is episode 72, I think. I mean, big. You know, we've done basically a bunch of these. But we're on for like pretty much the whole last year. I mean, big. You know, we've done basically for like pretty much. Cool. So we are good. Let me bring everyone in now. So the first person I'm going to bring on Nick Rishwain. So we've just sent him an invite to join the show.
Hello,
Nick. How you doing? I'm doing a quick little intro for you. So we've got Nick Rishwain. Nick's my co-host for Social Chatter. I think you've been on how many episodes now?
We've never really gone back and talked about looked, but I feel like I came in the late 40s, early 50s.
Well, we'll have to do that one day. You know, look at the numbers we have.
We'll have to find the time and see where it started.
So we got Nick on. Nick, just gave everybody a heads up on what the show, the topics we're going to talk about tonight. But while I bring Jessika on, if you want to drop in some links in the chat, I mean that'd be perfect. Maybe your Twitter handle.
Sure.
Important stuff, and we're also live on Facebook as well. So.
Sure. Yeah, we're on, and I'll be covering that again and you'll be covering the chat over here, I imagine, as we've been doing. Okay.
So now I'm bringing on Jessika. How you doing, Jessika?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. So everyone, we've got Jessika Phillips. Jessika, do you want to say hi to everyone? Give everybody, a heads up of what you do.
Sure. Hey, everyone. I'm Jessika Phillips with Now Marketing Group and the Relationship Marketing System. So I help businesses, small, medium, large, become a magnet with their marketing versus being a bullhorn with relationship marketing. So everything from web design, social media management, and consulting. A little bit about me.
Very cool. So really good to have you. Jessika, I don't know if you knew Nick.
Nice to meet you. I don't think we've ever met, but I've heard good things from Christian.
Ditto about you. So nice to meet you digitally.
Digitally, eyeball to eyeball.
Yeah.
So we got. So I already gave everybody kind of a bit of a rundown on what we're going to talk about tonight, Jessika. I don't know if you want to take a moment and put, if you got some Twitter handles or important links you want to put in the chat, feel free to do that. Okay. Nick's monitoring Facebook as well because we're also live and feedback/chefs. But I think we got a lot of really good topics to talk about tonight, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some really good topics, and it sounded like Jessika, you sent in another one just for our listeners and viewers. LinkedIn's kind of the big topic tonight, and Jessika, it looked like you sent Christian another item that I think we can probably work into the LinkedIn redesign. It seemed to kind of go hand in hand with that one. So, cool. But my thoughts were to start with the Facebook stories article. If you guys are good with that, it seemed like that one was, and this is a fairly simple story. for you guys, for everybody involved, because it's essentially this came from Business Insider, and Facebook made a key move, and it's the title is Facebook made a key move in its quest to crush Snapchat, which the elusive crushing is what I like to refer to it as. After successfully copying Snapchat with the Instagram Stories feature, Facebook is at it again. They are working right now. It's just recently deployed in Ireland, though they will likely be rolling it out to other countries in the near future, and it works exactly the same as Instagram Stories. So there'll be the little bubble kind of at the top of the app with a bunch of the people that you follow who are doing a story, and they will disappear after 24 hours, and whatever you post in the story will not show up in your news feed. So I think that's as simple as we need to make it on Facebook Stories. They obviously saw the value in Facebook Story or in Snapchat Stories, because they copied it and said they copied it for Instagram and said we got this from Snapchat, and now they're doing it again. So Jessica, any thoughts?
Yeah, so lots of thoughts. One, I think that it's a cool move by Facebook, but I personally am scared by it. I don't think I want it there in my Facebook feed, because I think we're very quick to connect with a lot of people on Facebook, people that we know, from past, present, and want to connect with. And we share so much there already that I'm almost worried about kind of the stories making another play in there in the messaging feed. There's already so many notifications on Facebook. I mean, I think it is a smart move by Facebook. Don't get me wrong. I'm just kind of scared of how it's going to roll out. I think it's going to shift the dynamic of who we're connecting with and how. So I'm interested to see how their notifications are going to play with the stories. Like, can you be friends with someone but not follow their stories, or how's that going to work? Is it going to be similar to video or what? Depending on how many people kind of jump into it, I guess. I don't know that I want all those video notifications.
And I'm getting plenty of video notifications with Facebook Live already. And yeah, I think I can shut that off. I've chosen not to, because I've chosen to see what people are up to, but I'm getting enough notifications from Facebook right now. Christian, your thoughts on Facebook Stories?
Yeah. So Jessica, you and I, we share a very similar opinion here. So I was thinking about this earlier, and I actually think that I'm trying to figure out how is this going to play into the bigger picture of things, because I was going through, for instance, the LinkedIn updates we talked about, but I'm also like thinking, hey, I'm thinking Snapchat, I'm thinking Instagram, I'm thinking Facebook. All of these networks are running together. So it's like, hey, now I can do stories on Instagram, and I can do them on Facebook, and I can do them on Snapchat. It's too much. It's I think it's going to be just content overload for people. People are barely getting their hands around, using live video. I think stories are like way off in the sense that Facebook wants to do that. Now, I like the fact, though, that this is going to keep people on Facebook, but I do wonder, is this going to erode Snapchat at some point? That's a theme that, Nick and Vincent and I have always been talking about. Over time, Facebook, there really is no difference between the two companies that they own. They're going to have to probably fold, Instagram into Facebook at some point. I'm wondering if this is moving closer to that, or if they're going to still try to run two tracks at the same time.
I don't know if they're trying to compete with WhatsApp and just have everything all in one. That seems like more of their long-term play is what it looks like they're trying to do. I am a huge fan of what they're doing with video. I love the video player and how it tells you, you can put the video in video player. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, where you can watch in video or stroll through your news feed and see the video pop into the right. That new update, I love that. I love that you can tune in and it's like you can choose. But the stories feature for me, I think, I don't know. It's just how it plays out is going to determine whether I love it or hate it. Businesses, I'm just afraid, because we as businesses, we always try to, think, how can we use this for us? I think it is a smarter play for the businesses to stay on Instagram stories and not try to jump over to Facebook. And now I'm getting makeup and weight loss products and everything else in my Facebook stories. I'm hoping it doesn't turn into that.
I've seen what my experience has been with a little bit of the experience that I've had. I stick mostly to Snapchat. I do Instagram. It's very light. You'll see my dog. You'll see pictures of my goddaughter, and I don't even touch the stories. I just don't do it. I do my stories on Snapchat. What I see a lot of people doing is either doing stories on Snapchat and then posting them to Instagram or vice versa. And if I've seen it on one, I start getting annoyed when I see it on another one.
Yep.
You're just sharing the same content. And in fact, now I'm getting to the point where I don't want to follow you on at least one of them because I don't need to see it again. And it's just clutter.
Exactly.
I don't like that at all. And it is certainly, I use Facebook, strangely enough, at one of the least. Personally, I use it probably least. I probably spend more time on Instagram and more time on Snapchat these days in my personal time because there's more entertainment over there, and Facebook's just, it's so cluttered. It feels cluttered at this point.
Yeah.
Anyone?
I don't know. I spend most.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was gonna say I spend most of my time on Facebook, still, and I still love Facebook, but I feel like all of them have their own tone still to it. I feel like Snapchat is more fun and short content, and I love seeing people's stuff there, but that kind of stuff I just don't want to see on Facebook.
Yeah. I don't want family and friends and stuff to see. I do different content in different areas for different audiences, and I don't want them engaging with me on the content that I do on Snapchat. It's just one of those things. So anyway, I think it's a pretty simple story. I'm a little surprised they were doing it because I thought they would integrate before, but that brings us to another story of Snapchat and Facebook, which are Snapchat and Facebook are kind of our main stories till we get to LinkedIn because these all kind of flow together. And Snapchat is now cracking down on content in the Discover section specifically. So they're cracking down on the content and allowing publishers to crack down on the content that they allow users to see. So it sounds like they're allowing, if there's nude photos in a particular publisher's ad or particular story in the Discover section, it looks like they're allowing publishers to say, we're not letting minors see this type of information.
For 12 hours.
And it sounds like they are also, this seems to me to be essentially a getting ahead of the issue that Facebook had throughout last year's election with items of fake news. So I think they're working here to try and make digestible news, illustration, and video heavy content, but to make sure that it is pertinent and has some news quality. So there's some qualified news, not quality, but qualified news. So thoughts, Jessica?
No, I'm with you. I think it speaks to the quality, but two, it also speaks to the individuals that if they're trying to grow a market, like me, I haven't let my oldest daughter join Snapchat because of that feature that I can't control. Like, even though I know that I can see who she's following and connecting with her and following that, it's still below. There's that risque, news that you have no control over. So, I mean, I think a lot of parents that monitor that are a little bit more uncomfortable and less likely to let their kids join Snapchat because of that. I think that's a huge move on their part to kind of try to age limit and filter out some of that and censor out some of that, so they have more room for growth if they're going to go to a younger audience and get people younger to join their platform. And another piece that just ties into that is also the credibility of their news. If they're trying to compete with some of the bigger news sources and get more people to use that feature, because it is really, really cool. I love their discovery feature and how they display the news. I think it's really great, the snippets before you get into that. But if they want to be taken more serious, they have to make some moves like this.
Yeah, I agree. Christian, thoughts?
I think this is a really good move by Snapchat. I mean, I was kind of thinking about Facebook's whole journalism project from last week we talked about. How, it's funny how, like, at the snap of a finger, everybody's like, all of a sudden, hey, I really need to start controlling the news more. They didn't think about this, a couple of years ago, as they've been evolving. So I like the direction Snapchat's going with this. And, the other thing is, because Snapchat has, their whole like news team, Vincent and we talked about this with Vincent, they have a whole news team. Basically, they have people that can actually go through this content, so they have like a little bit of automation, but they're also having a team that can actually, go through and weed the stuff out as well.
Some checks and balances, essentially. On our last story, we have a couple of people watching. Melissa G, who's a regular viewer, and she says she has family members sometimes in Facebook and sometimes in Instagram, and that's why she'll share content. And I think that's fine for personal content. Many of us are in social media, so we think about it a little differently than for family. Lisa Monks out of Australia says they've had Facebook stories in Australia since October of last year. So she also thinks that personally doesn't think that it'll take off like Insta stories or Snapchat stories.
And it's funny, by the way, Australia, apparently you get everything ahead of time.
Yes.
Pretty awesome. By the way, the one thing I wonder about all of this is we're like, we're trying to put out the fire, right? We're trying to put out the fire of like fake news, or inappropriate content or clickbait or whatever. What do you guys think? Do you think there need to be other measures taken to really like, get in front of that? Because we're in this age now where like there's so much content being produced, that we don't have time to consume it all, and people don't really know what's real and what's fake nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead and take that one if you would, Jessica.
Well, I don't know. I think there needs to be some kind of checks and balances because this is the way that news is going. The stats when I was reading some of the links that you're sharing here, it was like 46% of people get their news from Facebook. And I know Twitter used to hold a spot there as well, and still does, but because it's instant, right? Mm-hmm. So I think though, for it to continue on this trajectory of everyone, getting their news there and being taken serious, there has to be some kind of check there, like how verified pages are. Like it would almost even be cool if there was just like a verified button for news that people could say, yeah, it was verified, this was a legitimate news source, and be taken a lot more serious.
So, by the way, I while we have like Facebook verified accounts and like Twitter verified accounts, when I really like, since Twitter opened that up to everyone, I look at an account and I see a check mark, and it used to have meaning to me, but now like I see it, I'm like, everybody has this. Mm-hmm. And yet I look at somebody's account, I'm like, oh, they have like 500 followers. Why do they have a verified account?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It really in a way is like making it where you're not unique anymore to have.
Yeah.
Just like verified check for the news itself, not for like a verified account, but just like somebody's looked this over and put their seal of approval on it. If there was some kind of something like that, until we can get over this hump of so much fake news out there, that I think would give people a little bit more peace of mind that it was checked and it was credible.
And by the way, and a lot of that is kind of coming about because a lot of the tools that are available. It's so easy nowadays for somebody to open Canva and, hey, I create a really great looking image. I slap on some text, looks really slick, looks professional. And hey, my news article could look great on Facebook and somebody's going to read it. By the way, this does actually, do you guys mind if I jump into that Facebook trending topic we were talking about?
No,
okay. This actually reminds me of what Facebook has also done this week, which is making updates to trending topics. And, you ask about like having something that's verified. So basically, Facebook has this, let me see, this is, what's up? So basically they've updated trending topics, and they're not just showing like previously what they're showing on trending topics was you would have the title, you'd have the number of people that were talking about something, and you'd have, a little arrow showing it's trending. But what Facebook is doing now with this adjustment is they're giving you the title, but giving you the first part of the article. They're also telling you where it's coming from. So they're saying, okay, it's coming from Fox News, or it's coming from weather.com or ABC News. And what they're going to try to do with this, it seems, is they're trying to actually monitor conversations and pull like, well, what are people talking about? But they're also selecting this based on like factors, like they're basically like their edge rank factor they used to have for the news feed, such as engagement around the article, engagement around the publisher, and whether the articles are linking to it.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're saying that multiple publishers talking about the same thing. So not just if there was a lot of engagement on one post, that used to, and still is until they're like shift away completely from this, make that article trending. But if it's just one person, a lot of people are saying this is crap, and that's their engagement with it. It would still show as trending versus if it's a headline and multiple credible publishers are all talking around it with engagement. They're taking all of those factors into consideration versus just one engagement kind of factor from one publisher.
Definitely.
Which is super smart, because I think that'll cut down and allow everyone to see what's trending versus just like what's trending for me may be different than what's trending for you right now. But now we'll all kind of be in the same field.
Now they are going to also tie in like your regional location with things as well. So for example, if I'm in, like I'm in Washington, DC, I would see trending topics around my area. You're in Ohio, you would see that. Nick's in California. So you have something a little bit different, but I do like the fact that they, this is in a way a bit of a verification. It's almost like, remember how like website traffic, you used to get good SEO ranking if you had a lot of people linking to you. Had a lot of backlinks. This, in a way, almost kind of seems like that kind of tactic.
Same thing, relevancy and and engagement both. So I like that.
And the Facebook training and journalist training that we covered last week as well, Christian, kind of goes hand in hand with our next story today, I think, which is kind of interesting. They're pushing out to have the training for journalists, because evidently newspapers and other media outlets are struggling to make money from their partnerships with tech giants like Facebook and Snapchat. And this article came from Bloomberg Technology, and it said the title essentially was "Facebook Snapchat Deals Produce Meager Results for News Outlets." Some publishers scaling back on Facebook Inc.'s Instant Articles program, in which they host stories directly on Facebook's platform instead of their own websites, so that they load faster on phones. Media companies are frustrated that Facebook restricts the number and type of ads in instant articles, making it harder for them to make as much money as they do selling ads on their own website. And what is the other drawback for news publishers? That means they're not going to your website. Your website's not getting the traffic, making it even harder to sell advertising to. If you're not getting the eyeballs, then how do you sell to your advertisers? Well, Jessica, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough world for journalists. Like, I don't know, because I remember this is going back like 6 years ago, where the journalist in the newspaper in our town, they would just share like a link to an article, and then it would take you to a paywall to read or not read, for that matter, that piece of content, which was incredibly frustrating for the user. So I guess they're in a toss-up between what's going to be good for their subscribers or people that are reading their content, like the faster to load, ready access right there, versus what's going to be good for their advertisers. I think they're going to have to get a lot more creative, and it's going to be kind of like sponsored ads, as in sponsored content, I should say, not sponsored ads. So it could be, I, influencer A, am writing about this subject matter, and it's written by me, that they're going to have to give more kind of credit, highlights to, I guess, the person that's writing it in order to make money that way. Similar to kind of Forbes is trying some things out like this, and some of the others. Or I don't know, they're going to have to get creative. I don't know that I have the answer for them, but I am glad I'm not in that world.
Yeah, it's a tough world to be in. Christian, what are your thoughts?
So I think like, for instance, like people are pulling back on like, they're frustrated with the instant articles piece. I think that part of that is that, they have to get more creative with the content they're creating. One thing I actually wanted to share with everyone here is that Facebook actually has an article on their site on how you can actually publish multiple instant articles for a blog post. So, this basically gives you A/B split testing, so you can try different things, different ways to try out the content. Now, there also are other ways within Facebook Instant Articles to monetize those. I mean, you don't have to just run ads. You can run you can run ads, you can run links to things, you can sell spaces. I mean, there's all that stuff there. It's just a matter of them, I think coming up with a really good content plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is so eerie because one of the tools, by the way, I have tonight, Nick, we talked about this last week, but it's a tool for being able to, instead of paying for subscriptions to magazines and newspapers and stuff, it's actually a tool for purchasing some of the articles. And in this case, I just find how really interesting how all this stuff intersects, because I didn't do it. So.
Yeah. It's go ahead, Jessica.
No, I was going to say that's another thing for journalists. I mean, I know that there's several papers out there that pay and subscribe to AP, to get the content fed in. So then they're only writing a handful of their stories, but the rest of it is kind of national news, and it saves them some costs. Well, that's frustrating to the person that wants to read the news that is relevant to them, and they're just seeing all this AP stuff that they could get anywhere. So it is making sense that, people that want their news and want it in a certain way, that they would pay for customized content delivered right to them. Kind of like the old RSS feeds, but delivered in a news style format that they're really going to enjoy. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen with that as well. I think we're seeing a huge shift, and we're, and the way that we're getting news, the way that news is being created, and just an overall, everything that we know is going to start shifting.
And everybody's creating the same content. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
I look at, for instance, not name dropping on purpose, but I look at USA Today, I look at CNN, I'm like, hey, I already saw that article on CNN. I go to CNN, for instance. I'm like, why do I care about, this gigantic alligator, for instance, that they happen to, have a video of? To me, that's news, but it's not what I really go to that site for.
Right.
I think, we're going to go back to the issues that we had, a number of years ago with a lot of companies. They were hesitant to change, and, change is, it's constant. I mean, it's, if you don't change, I mean, you're going to end up by the wayside on this.
The one news organization that I feel like is slowly, and they've still been suffering from it, but who seems to be trying to adapt and doing some interesting things with their content, appears to be the New York Times.
Yeah.
And I know that the change for them has been very difficult. And they're still losing money, but they are doing some creative video content. They are trying to do so. They did some really cool interactive sort of feeds on the Olympics that were entertaining to look at. They did some great videos about the athletes during the Olympics. Yeah. So, and they still have a pretty good following. Their website still gets pretty heavy traffic. But you know what? I end up getting to the New York Times more times than not out of Twitter.
Yeah.
So.
And they've maintained their credibility throughout the whole thing.
I
think that's the key point. If you're going to change and are struggling to get viewership, do it in a slow way if you need to, because credibility is going to be the name of the game. As which ones survive and which ones don't.
Excellent.
And they're smart about it. At least they're going slow, but they're doing it in a smart, engaging way, and still maintaining their level of excellence, I think, throughout the whole thing. So.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I remember very clearly, as Christian's mentioning CNN, you may recall, I think it was back in 2012, when the Malaysian Airlines flight disappeared. It just disappeared. They still to this day have not found it. And I remember watching CNN, and they were talking about, could it have gone into a black hole? And I thought, I never have to watch CNN again. This has turned into entertainment television. This is not news. You're not even trying on this. Is how I felt.
Maybe it did. No.
Yeah, but as a viewer, I was like, you guys aren't even trying anymore. You're just throwing stuff out there to be on 24 hours a day.
And by the way, I even noticed the same thing with a lot of articles. I'll go to read something on CNN, New York Post. They have this whole style that they do things. They basically take For example, it could be a clip that was on Twitter, and what they do is they basically wrap it in their own like branding, and then they, you go think, oh, I'm going to go read the article, and it's a 20-second, 30-second clip about something that I could have just gone and read on another site. Like, I don't need to watch your video.
They're scalping. Like, so many of them are scalping content there and copying it. Like you said, they're just taking something from someone else, kind of giving it a headline and its own little paragraph, and then like, okay, read the rest here where it was originally,
where it was originally written.
Which
happened with blog posts.
So much of it scalping. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And there's no even like, there's not even like, you can't even comment or have any sort of discussion with them. It's like, hey, we want you to watch this 30-second video, and then it's all ads.
Right.
I'm like, what the heck? Like, you make me watch a 30-second ad. You don't even show me the clip I thought I was going to see. I can't comment. I can't read anything. And then, at the bottom, there's some related ads that you want me to also possibly click.
Lisa Monks, joining from Facebook, says they have a local newspaper in Australia who is turning their Facebook news feed into members only. So if you want to read a local news story on their Facebook page, you have to subscribe to their digital subscription in order to get access to the Facebook. And she said people are really up in arms about this. But, there's just another interesting tactic by a local news agency.
So by the way, Jessica, what do you think about that? Because, like,
I didn't know that you're allowed to do that.
I mean, I'm guessing
but
like the headline or something is just putting like, hey, go check out this article, and driving people back to the website to then get them to pay to read the content.
I hate that. I hated that. Those paywalls don't work. People will just stop going to your page and find other content. What does work is the behind the scenes, exclusive looks, whatever for your persona that you're writing for the paper. That's what works. Like, we actually worked with a paper here locally that started, and they were all digital, and they didn't want to do the paywall thing, but they just wrote interesting stories and did some behind the scenes stuff. They did share some national things, but they didn't try to rewrite it. They just shared it and curated it, right on their page. They're like, hey, this is what's happening. Here's the article about it right here. But everything else was just about people and interesting stories that, a woman, for example, one of their more popular articles was just a woman that was making gowns for mothers that had lost their babies, and she made them like little gowns and things to keep, and just like little behind the scenes inside stories that you would not have known about unless they delivered it to you. And that was really, really popular. But I think when you require that somebody has to, I don't know, if you try to keep it from them or make it some kind of subscribe only, or you have to pay to see it, that's not what works. I think people want to be a part of something because of the way that it makes them feel. And I think if they're going there and they're feeling like they have to pay before they're delivered the value, then they might opt out. I don't know if Lisa knows how it's going so far, but I guess I would be turned off by it.
She said it's not for all stories. They have a link to the content, and then it says members only. And it's not on all news articles, but it's on many. It's a regional publication that is owned by News Corp. What is happening now is that other digital platforms are writing the story, posting their links, and people are clicking on those to read or Googling to find the information elsewhere, which is what I would do in that situation. So, so it's probably not benefiting them. So, well, guys, we're at 6:33. I think we should get to our the big redesign of LinkedIn before we get to our tools. What do you think?
Definitely.
That's good.
All right. So introducing the new LinkedIn desktop, and this comes out of the LinkedIn newsroom from January 19th. They said today and I feel like I had this long before January 19th, so I must have been rolled out a little early while they were doing the redesign. They're excited to share their new look. It's a complete overhaul of their technology architecture and largest desktop redesign since LinkedIn's inception. And we've taken a thoughtful approach to ensure we're delivering a simplified LinkedIn experience that's more intuitive, faster, and creates more value for our members. My experience with it when I first saw it was that, yes, it was a desperately needed redesign, and it does seem more intuitive. They also claim that it will allow for faster, and in fact, they have quite a few things that we can expect. One of them that really caught my eye was faster innovation. Their new technology stack shares the same front-end APIs as LinkedIn mobile app and allows the release of new code 3 times a day. This means they can innovate much faster across the platforms, and I think they're referring to both mobile and desktop platforms there. What are your thoughts and experiences, Jessika, with the new LinkedIn?
Yeah, I like what they're doing with the messenger feature. So I do like that. I like how you can message others, and how the messenger feature is going to be more kind of chatbot-esque, like prompting conversations. Some of these features aren't out yet, but this is where they say that they're going, where you can message to someone, even if you're not connected on a first degree level, and it's not going to require like the in-mail, and that you're going to be able to communicate, and you'll be able to see, like if, for example, if you've went to the same college, or you both have something in common, some conversation starters. So I do like that part. And I do like the integration and what they've done with mobile. And I also like how the news stories, like where they've purchased Pulse, like now everything's a lot easier to search without having to go to Pulse or have to follow a story or a certain thread in order to see that. So I do love all the new search features in there. I'm worried about some of the other things that I've heard that's to come with some of just what the paid membership's going to be. One, like, what does that mean for a premium versus a non-premium member? Because I do pay for it. And I'm also worried about losing like the media plays that will be on your actual profile, which I've heard. And that was the extra link that I sent in. I haven't seen that. My SlideShare is still there. My media for videos and links to projects that we've worked on, everything is still there on my profile. But it said that some of that's going away. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I think it's more intuitive. I like what they've done. I am not a paying member of LinkedIn, though I've thought about doing it because I'd like to see what more it offers. Because I don't think I don't even think in their pay structure versus free structure, it really gives you a good feeling of what you're getting. So I've thought about doing the week or two free or whatever, just to see what is the difference here. Is it a real value add? And just my first impressions in the last week or two that I've had the new design on the desktop is that it was drastic. It was desperately needed, because LinkedIn was this place where I'd go and post a couple of things and like a couple of things and get out of, because it was just a disaster to look at. It was uncomfortable to be there, which is
felt like claustrophobic.
Yeah, it's just like it's all this stuff coming at. I'm like, I got enough content coming at me that I do not need this right now, and there's no engagement there, so I'm leave it. In the groups where we post for the company and where I post personally on occasion are just filled with spam. So nobody's really engaging in the LinkedIn groups, which is a shame. So I'm hoping that with the new design and some ease of use, that maybe some of that will change. Christian, what are you thinking?
So I actually don't have the new design yet, but so as I was going through all these stories, I partly think that, hey, like I love the messaging feature. I think they borrowed that page from Facebook, to have it right in front of you. I like the fact that it's clean. Now, one thing I really like about what LinkedIn is doing here is that, there are pops of color in the content. Whereas I go to Facebook, there's certain things where it's like, oh, like that icon doesn't, needs to look a bit bigger, needs to be a little different. So I like the direction LinkedIn is going with a lot of the stuff they're doing. As far as the pay structure, I don't pay for LinkedIn either, but I also wonder, we have to remember Microsoft owns LinkedIn now. So is it going to become free, for instance? I'm not sure. I'm just pitching an idea there. I mean, I would consider, hey, like people buy computers from Microsoft. Why don't we tie it into a LinkedIn profile? Hey, we got more people on the site. We get more people using the service all the time. So I'm not sure what direction that's going to go, but I like the design. I like the fact that it's a lot cleaner. Definitely agree with you all as far as it being claustrophobic, because you go there and you really, you're kind of hit with just all this stuff. And I think it's probably because like, hey, I'm not there all the time. I'm not used to seeing some of the updates from people. But I like the direction they're going with this.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I like that nobody can look at your profile now in incognito mode, which is kind of cool. So all those creepers try to turn off their and go in incognito and scope you out, and you're like, who are you? And you try to look through 25 people and try to guess who it is in a lineup. Yeah, I like that that's going to be turned off, because I think that's why some people pay for the premium. That's why I paid for premium, is just for more connection ability and to see more of a network. So I can really like see before I'm talking, or if I'm talking with a client, I can really go see what's the company, look like, who all is at the company, go look at their pages and look at them. And I know that there's going to be certain aspects that are going to be more available to paid members, but I know their pricing structure is changing quite a bit. So I don't really understand that part yet. And it sounds like based on the thread that there's a lot of people that don't understand that, because some of the people that are paying like the $10 a month for the mobile app, getting something, it's all free now, but they're still being charged. So I'm not sure what direction it's going and what the differentiating factor is going to be, especially now that InMail, that's the other thing that you're paying for the premium membership, is being able to InMail others and connect with people that were not directly, 3 degrees connected with you.
And we have a couple of comments over on the Facebook page. Here's some breaking news, as Lisa Monk says. She says they are not ahead of times with the LinkedIn redesign in Australia on this one, which is kind of a first, because I do hear about them being ahead. So they are not, they don't have it yet. She wondered if it was rolled out to everybody in the US yet. And Christian, you said you don't have the new redesign, right?
Yeah, I don't have it.
And Fiona Lucas, who's watching on Facebook, says she liked the incognito mode for when she's doing training with clients, because otherwise it looks like she's stalking somebody. So that's an interesting thought.
It's good though. It's good. Then they say that they're scoping you out, and then they look at you and then see whatever you've posted that's new. So I like that. But I think overall, like, LinkedIn's moving to be that social network for recruiters and, for training, which I completely understand. I mean, it makes sense. It is that professional networking site, but it is very much now geared for recruiters and job seekers, whereas it was this great site not just for them, but also for small businesses and for groups and engagement. I've actually had great success within groups, but I feel like that's kind of been muted now a little bit, and that it's more about the jobs, the hiring, recruiting, which is a good day for recruiters. But it's interesting to see anything that Microsoft does. I don't know. I don't know. Because time will tell with that.
It sounds like there's a hesitancy there to really jump on board.
And by the way, there are a couple of things I'm also like intrigued by. Like, I really wonder what is going to happen with SlideShare. I love SlideShare, as a separate platform. But I used it a lot, and there were parts of SlideShare that, from the regular version of SlideShare, I mean, parts of it worked, but it was kind of clunky to use. But then they integrated it partially with LinkedIn. They never completely pulled it over. And there were certain things that just didn't work, or certain things that were broken. Like SlideShare would be telling you to do one thing and it wouldn't work because LinkedIn didn't have that connected anymore or something. So I wonder what's going to happen. I think, SlideShare is very valuable. I could see them folding it into LinkedIn and making it, you go there and, hey, you could have blog posts that you could write. You could have presentations you could put together, all those assets, but put them into this new, nice, shiny package. And I think they'd have something really good to work with.
Another interesting comment from Terrence Lee Keyser. He said company pages are getting a larger emphasis. And that would be interesting because I essentially in my day job have given up on our LinkedIn company page as having any value.
Which is the new layout with that is crazy. It looks like Facebook's kind of the side view of it shows you like how much engagement you've had and who's engaged with you. And I do love this part of the new LinkedIn is that you can see who's engaged and read your content. That part to me is worth its weight in gold.
That's worth a
Just
lot.
that part right there, just knowing who's reading and consuming your content. You don't just see the number of people, you can see literally who's engaged with it.
That's good.
And the notifications with that. But yeah, I do like that part with the company pages. That's a good point, Terrence.
And
But the
by the way, the
groups,
company pages, those are ones that, they never have really fully rolled those out to everyone. You always had to be this, really big company at some point to have a company page. And they kind of started restricting them as well. So
unless you had a vanity like email address.
Mm.
And then, what's cool about that is the company pages, then they have the showcase pages. I'm wondering if they're still going to keep it like that or how that will work. We'll see.
Interesting.
And
Excellent.
by the way, sorry, let me go back. What I meant by was showcase pages were actually the ones that they were not rolling out to everyone. Everybody could have a company page, or to a certain degree at least. So
Okay, all right, yeah. I was like, really? Because we're a small company, but we have good domain name, and I was like, I'm pretty sure we have a company page that I gave up on a long time ago. So this will be interesting if there. It sounds like there is some information that I should be paying attention to on that company page now, and maybe I need to get it going again and spend some actual effort over there.
Hey, by the way, Nick, one other feature that they also are going to be working on, they're not really chatbots, but they're also they're rolling out these like icebreakers and things like that to really help you connect with people. Kind of ties in your relationship side of things, Jessica. Like how if you don't know somebody, like they're in a way they're kind of doing some of that due diligence for you, so you don't have to like quickly just go through somebody's profile and try to learn as much as you can in a couple seconds. So,
cool. That part's really, really cool. And you can see if they've read it or not, which is cool now. And you can see kind of the little bubbles of somebody's messaging you back. And I like that you don't have to leave and go to the messenger section itself. Like it stays kind of right there. In the future, it's supposedly going to do that. It's not doing that now for a lot of pages. You're still directed to another area. But I do like the chat starter conversation, whatever you want to call it, they're integrating, and that what they're doing with bios. So it makes a really good summary that you can, they'll start creating it for you as well. If you want to tell people a little bit about yourself in a summary, they basically take everything that's on your page and they'll start and generate one for you for your summary.
So I just have a quick question on that. Do you think, I'm going to jump over to YouTube real quick. So YouTube has a feature where if you want to generate, if you want to have something in a certain language, like subtitles or whatnot, they have a service where they'll do something like that. Facebook is now auto-generating stuff. Do you think LinkedIn could maybe monetize their platform and offer, services to like, let us write your bio or something to that effect?
They could. Sure.
That's something I think that would be easy for them to implement. And probably wise for them to implement.
Yeah. I think their main focus right now is getting that training going. Training and recruitment, which is super smart for them. I mean, I was a fan of Linda way back. I'm not a member now. I haven't, used that part of LinkedIn yet, just because their pricing structure is kind of crazy. Like if they need to have, for a larger team, some kind of change up with that, because if you're a smaller business, we have 12 people, right? So paying that premium just for training there when you can do like a Skillshare or something else that could be just as credible is a lot to swallow for a small business. But I'm interested to see what they do there, because with the integration with Pulse and the training, I think it could be a huge way for those micro influencers to be seen as well if they're providing the training and doing it.
But like, how much money are we talking about on that? Like if they're, if somebody was going to do it for
I don't remember the cost because it's been a while, but I want to say it was like upwards of like $20 a person. I don't know.
It's significant cost.
Yeah. That's a lot. Skillshare, it's like it was $10 or something for a couple months. And I think I paid, I don't know, it was something, it was not very much. It was maybe like $100 a year per person.
Okay.
And then I could subscribe, them to what courses that they wanted and see if they completed it, all of that. I don't know. There's so many apps out there that's I mean, I love the idea of it, but I just don't know how they will compete.
And speaking of apps, it's about that time, Christian.
Definitely. And you're right, Jessica. There's a ton of different tools, for creating courses or doing any of these little, micro courses and whatnot. So it's going to be tough. I mean, again, everybody's doing the same thing. It's going to be hard for a lot of these businesses to, really kind of stand out. So let's talk about some tools. I've got 3 quick tools for everyone. Tool number 1 is Blendle. We talked about this last week with
Chris Bear.
With Chris Bear. And Blendle is a pretty neat little tool. This is the tool I was talking about earlier, where if you wanted to, you didn't want to subscribe to like 5 newspapers and a couple of magazines and whatnot. Basically, what you do with Blendle is you pay per article. Now, you don't pay a lot. I mean, it's 15 cents, or I think it's 19 cents, 49 cents, 35 cents. It really tends to vary, but you can go through and you can pick out the specific articles. That's the tool. What do you guys think about that? The whole concept, I guess.
My thought is I'm gonna do what was recommended by Lisa Monks over on Facebook, and that is I'm gonna go and Google whatever I want to see when I want to see. I have a different ease of use than a lot of people, maybe because I'm in front of 2 giant screens all day every day, and I have the phone on the side, so it's very easy for me to go, I want to see this, I'm going to search this right now, and so I think I would probably avoid using this. I don't know that there's content that I need that desperately that I can't find.
Jessica, what do you think?
Well, paper.li, you could do kind of the similar thing. And for individuals that wanted to curate different kinds of news into one paper, I could see that for brands. On the brand side, it's genius. So in case, if I want all of our subscribers to see all the news that I think that they would want, and I know that they like maybe I'm curating Social Media Examiner, HubSpot, your stuff, Chris Brogan stuff, all of it into one generated newsletter. And then I'm sending it out to my subscribers and saying, hey, don't worry, you don't have to search for it, I'm sending it to you. I think that would be smart on the brand's behalf to use something like a Paperly, I can see them paying that. And that's $9 a month for the brand to have their own curated paper like that. For me paying for news, to do that on my own, I'm gonna, go with Nick and say no, because I can just filter my news and create a Twitter feed or whatever, a Twitter list, whatever I want to get my news there. It's not worth it to me. But someone that maybe is in school that maybe needs to keep up on something, or someone that maybe is a marketer that they're looking to get, or a brand that's looking to get specific news sent to them and they're trying to save time, I could see in certain unique cases where it would make sense. But for me, no, I wouldn't pay for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Christian?
Sure. I think overall, I like the idea of paying for, a couple of cents per article. But, because if I'm going to go, for instance, subscribe to New York Times or Wall Street Journal, I don't know how much, I don't know how much each of those are a year. But I mean, I think New York Times, New York Times. I think Wall Street Journal could be $120 a year or something, right? I like the fact that I can, I don't have to I don't get a newspaper, a physical paper or a printed copy of something, digital copy. I like the fact that I don't have to, skim through all this, I don't want to read that article. I don't have to waste my time looking at that. Everything is literally right there, and I can just, I want that, and pay a couple of dollars. But if you think about it, it really adds up. I mean, if I'm paying 50 cents an article, I mean, that adds up. I mean, per day. That's, you could easily spend more than you would spend on a subscription in a week for a whole year. So I'd like to see the price point somehow get down. But I do agree with you all. I mean, you could theoretically go and, there are going to be people that are, going to copy and paste some of that content and put it up on a website, or they're going to clip it to Evernote, and hey, they've got, OCR and whatever else, and they're able to actually, share that, even though they really shouldn't be. So, but I like the idea, the concept of it.
Okay. All right. What's our second tool?
So second tool is called, and I don't know if I'm saying this right, it's called Yeay, Yeay.
Looked like Yeay to me. Yeah.
it's really neat. I don't know if you'll have to check this out, but basically it's a place to go and record a video for something you're selling. I know we talk about, Nick, we talk all the time, hey, there's too many video apps. Everybody come out with a video app, but this is cool because I could basically record a video, say, hey, who wants to buy this sweater? This is what it looks like. You actually see me moving around in it and whatnot, and then you can buy it. It basically creates a global community. I think that's pretty cool.
That is cool. It's cool. I don't know that I would use it necessarily, but I think it seems like a good idea. Is that sweater for sale, Christian?
No, not for sale.
Not for sale. Okay.
Yeah.
Jessica, what do you think?
I think it's a cool idea. I'm not sure how it would take off, again, because you can buy things off of Instagram now, and there's Pinterest already that has like a huge share with the buyable pins, and you can use video on Pinterest, and there's video with Facebook and Facebook Marketplace. I think if anything with like video and photos and selling, it's probably going to be the marketplace within Facebook or Instagram, where you can buy it right there because the community is already there. And the last thing that all of us want to do is like, well, at least for me, is download something else on my phone, especially if I know that I'm downloading it specifically for them to sell to me. I don't know.
Might be really good for little niche niche items. Like Jessica kind of covered it. Pinterest does, Pinterest does the crafts and the and things like that. But it could be for different niche items. Somebody who likes to do the homemade jewelry or beads and those types of things. Maybe it's something where they could create that, make a little video about it, and then sell it. I don't know.
I think if they had a spin where it was like, this is for youth, and this is the youth app where you're supporting like young entrepreneurs, and that's the differentiator of it. If it had some kind of spin like that, I could see it taking off. But if it's just like video to buy things, then I don't know if it's different.
Unless people, I think certain people who are very creative might be able to tell a story behind their item, and that could be a way to sell.
Yeah,
right.
Good point.
We're getting close here, Christian. You got?
Sorry.
Am I cutting you off?
No, I got one more thought on this app real quick, actually. So what do you guys think about, like, let's say you took that idea instead of having the app. A business could theoretically go record their own video, get a decent webcam, because you can stream Facebook from your desktop now, get a decent webcam, do exactly this. I have my nice little video, and then I don't have to actually have another app. I'm tapping into, as you said, Jessica, Facebook's, just gigantic community of people. Maybe maybe the fix would be just, hey, Facebook needs to offer, when you're selling products, the ability to add a little video, and it's not like some pre-produced video, like somebody like using a product in their home that is not your situation and doesn't really get to actually see the item. So
but then you come back with did we develop this, and is Facebook gonna? Do we develop it so Facebook will buy it, or are they going to build it and we're going to be on it?
Oh, that's a good idea. Done tomorrow.
Right, Christian. What's our last app for the day? Or
last app is called Panels. Panols.
This one's really cool. Yeah,
absolutely. It's an app to take so pretty simple. It's an app. You take the panoramics that you normally take, and you want to go put a panoramic on, like on Facebook, on Twitter, anywhere. Basically, what tends to happen? It doesn't really look that good. It doesn't really fit the area, right? So what Panels is, it's for Instagram. It takes your panoramic images and it puts it into Instagram's 3 layout grid. So that way you can create some really cool shots with your photos.
Nice.
That's really cool for like an unveiling, or just to add it, that extra cool factor. Yeah, I've seen actually some gal just followed me the other day on Instagram, and her whole profile was like blocks of photos like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, neat.
I like this idea, by the way, and I like this. Like, you gave me a great idea here, Jessica. Like, if I'm a real estate business, like I could actually go say, hey, you know what? We're breaking ground. Here's some part of the process, and hey, here's the finished product. Like, I'm showing you how we've we built something really awesome.
Yeah. Or like a coupon code unveiling, like for Black Friday or something. You're giving like little snippets of it, like Kohl's. I could see them doing something fun like that. Like, just being smart with it, but make sure each piece of the picture still looks cool. One of the person that followed me, the only bad thing was there was like one shot that was like just her belly. And like, I was like, really? Like you posted just that? I mean, because I had to live there for a day before you posted the next part. So like, but if it could still look cool and split evenly and like do some kind of secret message or something, that could be really fun. I think that is a really underutilized creative way of having fun on your Instagram.
It's like building putting a puzzle together over. I like that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Did there used to be a game? I'm trying to. Wasn't there a game where like you'd remove pieces and it would have some message or something underneath it? Like
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So that's panels. I think it's a cool little app. I mean, for $2, like, well,
that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool. All right,
that
guys.
I'd make some room for on my phone.
But you would have to make room.
I'd make some room for my phone.
Yes.
But you would have to make room. It sounds like Jessica. It sounds like you're filled up there. All right, guys. Anything else before we wrap it up? We're like right on time tonight, which is I'm not sure if Christian's told you, but that rarely happens for us. So
we tried to keep it on time, but sometimes we run over.
That's what happens when you have a girl on the panel, with you guys.
Yeah, you kept us on point. Jessica, where can people find you? Can you share that for us in the chat?
Absolutely.
Audibly?
Yeah, so you can go to nowmarketinggroup.com or just find me on Twitter. That's usually the easiest way. It's at Jessika. My name's spelled a little different. Jessika Phillips, Phillips. So I will put that in the panel here, and then I'll follow up on Facebook in a moment.
And Jessica, by the way, do you have any projects or anything you want to tell everybody about that you have coming up?
I'm so happy you asked that question, Christian. So yeah, I have an awesome project. It's actually, you guys will get a sneak peek to it because we're really technically announcing it on Saturday. But we're working on something called Magnet Marketers, social media masterclass, which is incorporate 34 now professionals, kind of influencers in the digital space that are going to be offering you training that's strategic for that small business or that marketer that really wants to know from start to finish, how should I organize my thoughts and my digital strategy around something that is meant to build relationships and grow that repeat referral business. So really all about gaining momentum with not only new customers, but really with the customers that you may already have. So everything from identifying your personas, kind of putting the content to work, what kind of content sticks, all the way to understanding how to utilize live video and so much more. So magnetmarketers.com is the website for that. You can sign up kind of to get notified of when it's going to go live, get a sneak peek into the trainers. And just by signing up, we're giving you a 25-page free ebook social media toolkit that gives you lots of cheat sheets and templates right there. So
very
excited.
Cool.
I'm a part of that, right?
And Christian's part of it, yes.
Oh, cool.
Doing his thing.
All right. Well, with that is episode 72 of Social Chefs. I'm Nick Rishwain.
Nice meeting you.
And you are?
I'm Jessika Phillips.
And you are?
And I'm Christian Kirasevich.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
Great having you, Jessica. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Jessica. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.